In order to understand this principle of calorimetry, let us say we have a ice which is added to the water. The amount of the ice we have is m1 and amount of the water we have is m2. Let ice be at some initial temperature θ1 and water be at some initial temperature θ2. When ice is added to water, ice gains heat. It gains heat and it changes its states to water. And when water it loses it. It loses it to the ice. Due to this loss of heat and gain of heat between the ice and the water, the final mixture will come to the some intermediate temperature θF. Now applying principle of calorimetry, that is mc theta of loss gain is equals to mc theta for loss. Mass is m1, specific capacity of the ice is c1 and θ1, and here it will be mass of the water, specific capacity and the theta, change in theta and change in theta. These are the change in theta is the change in temperature. What will be the change in temperature of ice? Obviously θF is greater than the θ1. So for ice, change in temperature is θF minus θ1. And for water, obviously it will lose its temperature. That means its initial temperature is higher than the final temperature. So this will be the heat loss here. So finally we can modify these equations. m1c1 θF minus θ1 equal to m2c2 θ2 minus θF. This equation can be modified, subject can be changed depending upon the other values given. Hence, by making the use of calorimetry, we can identify the specific capacity. If one of the specific capacity of one of the substance is known, other can be calculated very easily. Let us discuss about some of the substances and their specific capacity. So specific capacity of water, it is 4.2 joules per gram degree centigrade or 4200 joules per kg degree centigrade. This is in CGS format and this is in the SI format. I hope you know what these values mean. These values means that 1 kg of water can either absorb 4200 joules of heat or can release 4200 joules of heat. For a 1 kg of given substance, it is only water which can absorb this much amount of heat or can release this much amount of heat. Similar to the water, the specific capacity for alcohol is 2.18 joules per gram degree centigrade or 2180 joules per kg degree centigrade. You can just see. For any other substance you take, even for gold, the specific capacity is 0.134 joules per gram degree centigrade and it will be 1340 joules per kg degree centigrade. 134. So comparing these values, we know that specific capacity for metals, it is low and the specific capacity is highest for water, and you must remember those values. Next is advantages of high specific capacity of water. We have seen here that water has highest specific capacity. Specific capacity for water is 4200 joules per kg degree centigrade. That means 1 kg of water can release 4200 joules or can absorb or can store this much amount of the heat energy. Such a high value of heat storage makes a water life supporting material. Formation of the sea breeze and land breeze, both are the best examples of high specific capacity of water. The first application that we see for the high specific capacity of water is sea breeze and the land breeze. So during the daytime, let us say this is a land mass and this is water. During daytime, land gets heated up. Due to the heating up of the land, the air near the land also gets heated up and it rises up. As this hot air goes up, cold air from the oceans come towards the land. This is called as a sea breeze. That is, travel of cold air from water to land. This is called as a sea breeze, which occurs during the daytime. Similarly, during night time, when there is no sunshine, land becomes cool much faster as compared to that of the water. Water, because of its high specific capacity, it remains hot for a very long period of time. Hence, the air above the water becomes hot and it rises up. As the air above the water heats up and rises up, low pressure is created over the water, which results in cold air flowing from land towards the sea. This is called as a land breeze. That is, travel of cold air from land to water during night.